Camilla left in tears at Balmoral? A stunning new look from Princess Catherine is reportedly turning heads and sparking plenty of royal chatter. Catherine's chic new blonde hairstyle has become the center of attention, with her elegant appearance once again reminding royal watchers why she remains one of the most talked about women in the monarchy. But could this glamorous transformation have created unexpected tension behind palace walls? Why is everyone suddenly talking about Catherine's new look, and what might Camilla's reaction really be? Today we're pulling back the velvet curtain on the summer's most whispered about scandal, a moment that sent shockwaves through the very heart of the monarchy. Cracks that the palace could not conceal. Why did Camilla, long portrayed as the resilient backbone of the post-Diana House of Windsor, find herself so publicly unsettled, as insiders reportedly watched her confidence falter in the shadow of Catherine's transformation? What does this single striking change in Catherine's image reveal about the struggle for power, legacy, and acceptance at the crown's highest level? Stay with us as we follow the trail the mainstream won't touch. Because the truth behind the Queen Consort's tears, and what the household may be hiding, could change everything you thought you knew about life at Balmoral. If you only glanced at the headlines this summer, the story seemed as polished as a royal tiara. Catherine, Princess of Wales, stepped out at Balmoral radiating effortless sophistication. Tabloids and social pages buzzed about her fresh blonde style, hailed as chic, boldly modern, and the very definition of royal grace. The world was told that the family holidays in Scotland were a vision of unity and warmth, with Queen Camilla herself graciously welcoming the younger royals into the family's Highland sanctuary. Palace photos, tightly managed and carefully timed, showed beaming smiles, country walks, tender family moments, everyone playing their part with precision. According to the official script, the Windsors in the wilds of Scotland were a living portrait of togetherness. Nothing, it seemed, could disturb the family's golden summer. But behind closed doors, the real story was far more complicated and more suspenseful than glossy media coverage ever admits. Whispers from within the palace corridors speak of frosty silences, uneasy glances, and a sudden shift in the family dynamic. Did Catherine's striking new look, so lavishly praised in public, ignite old rivalries and fresh anxieties, especially for a queen consort ever wary of being upstaged? The cameras may capture smiles, but insiders suggest the true drama at Balmoral was unfolding out of sight, where courtiers and confidants saw a family struggling to hold its mask in place. And as you'll soon discover, what's being whispered inside those ancient walls is very different from the stories told to the nation. To truly grasp the impact of Catherine's radiant summer transformation, we must step into the complex world of Queen Camilla's psyche, a world rarely glimpsed by even the most seasoned royal watchers. For decades, Camilla's journey within the House of Windsor has been a relentless campaign for legitimacy. Once cast by the media as a controversial figure, she has spent years fighting for acceptance in the shadow of Princess Diana's enduring legacy and the country's affections. Publicly, Camilla wears the crown with dutiful composure. But insiders and royal commentators have long noted her vulnerability beneath the surface and anxious awareness that her position, unlike Catherine's, was never won through public devotion, but slowly negotiated on the margins of tradition. The knowledge that a younger, more universally admired figure within the family could so effortlessly command the world's attention is, by all accounts, a constant background hum of worry for Britain's new queen. It's no wonder, then, that Catherine's decision to unveil such a striking and youthful new image at Balmoral allegedly triggered emotions that Camilla has worked for years to suppress. For Camilla, Catherine's golden confidence wasn't just a fashion moment. It was a visible reminder of a spotlight she can never fully control, and of a public favor that has always felt just out of reach. Most viewers have never heard how acutely Camilla feels these undercurrents, how every change in Catherine's public persona is seen, by some in royal circles, as another test of Camilla's fragile standing. As this rivalry quietly simmers, it's the royal family's carefully crafted poise that begins to show its cracks. Make no mistake, Catherine's bold new blonde look was no casual summer whim. In the royal family, every hairstyle, every outfit, every public appearance is a calculated statement. Royal image consultants and palace insiders have long understood a truth that casual observers often miss. How a royal presents themselves to the world can reshape public loyalty overnight. And Catherine, it seems, understood this assignment better than anyone. The transformation was striking, luminous, youthful, and undeniably commanding. Commentators were quick to draw comparisons to another royal woman, who once captivated the world with a single daring makeover, Princess Diana. When Diana shed her shy, girlish image for the sleek, confident power looks of the early 1990s, she didn't just change her wardrobe, she changed the monarchy's balance of power forever. Catherine's blonde reinvention carries that same electric energy. As one royal image expert noted, in the monarchy, image isn't vanity, it's destiny. A single transformation can shift who the public loves, who they trust, and who they see as the future. For Camilla, watching Catherine command that kind of effortless authority must have felt painfully familiar, a ghost of the very dynamic that once overshadowed her for decades. And history, as we know, has a way of repeating itself within palace walls. Balmoral has long stood as the royal family's private fortress, a place where tradition reigns and the world's gaze feels distant. But this summer, as the family gathered in those Highland halls, the serene landscape belied a growing undercurrent of tension. Away from the bustle of London and the constant lens of the paparazzi, Balmoral became a stage for an unspoken contest, a faintly shimmering rivalry that even seasoned palace loyalists could feel in the air. According to royal commentators and those familiar with the rhythms of life at Balmoral, the atmosphere shifted the moment Catherine arrived with her new glow. Subtle, almost invisible lines began to appear in the family tableau. At dinners and estate walks, there were the smallest hesitations, a fleeting glance here, a murmured conversation there, whispers that seemed to follow Catherine not just in admiration, but in cautious, even wary acknowledgement. Insiders note that some longtime courtiers watched the dynamic between Catherine and Camilla with quiet concern. Was that reserved nod from Camilla a polite gesture, or something more brittle? Did Catherine's effortless charm, so warmly received by others, only deepen a private sense of alienation? In the safety of Balmoral's grand rooms, masks slipped, if only for a moment. It was here, far from the public's eye, that loyalties were quietly questioned, alliances subtly tested, and, as sources suggest, the first tears of a shaken queen consort were privately shed. Behind every ritual in every room, the real drama unfolded, out of reach, but never out of consequence. Behind the doors of Balmoral, with grand portraits glowering silently from the walls, the emotional strain reached its tipping point. According to royal observers, the defining moment came not during a glittering gathering, but in the suffocating privacy of an isolated sitting room, one of those vast, echoing chambers where even whispered words hang heavy in the air. Sources close to the household claim it was after a particularly tense exchange. Some say an awkward conversation, others only recall a sharp glance that Camilla, visibly distressed, excused herself from the presence of senior royals, Catherine included. It was in that brief retreat, with only a few trusted staff nearby, that the composed, unshakable queen consort reportedly let her guard down. Tears, rarely seen and never spoken of in public, made their silent appearance. Insiders haven't agreed on exactly what words were spoken, but body language experts who have studied similar scenes point to a rigid posture, clenched hands, and the unmistakable tension in Camilla's movements. Staff present at the time, discreet yet unavoidably aware, described an atmosphere thick with discomfort and concern, one where even seasoned aides felt powerless to intervene. It's moments like these that remind us, only a handful of courtiers ever truly witnessed the monarchy's most vulnerable fractures. For Camilla, this was not just about a changed hairstyle. It was the culmination of years of careful equilibrium slipping, even if only for a few unforgettable minutes behind palace doors. And the aftershocks, insiders say, would quietly echo long after guests had departed. When the stakes are this high, every glance, gesture, and glance carries a message. Royal watchers and academic analysts alike have long noted that in the Windsor world, words are only part of the story. The real drama plays out in subtle shifts of posture, tone, and presence. And at Balmoral, those who know how to read the room say the shifts spoke volumes. Leading body language experts, including those frequently called upon by global networks during royal events, have broken down public footage and private reports from this pivotal visit. Their verdict? Catherine's open posture, relaxed smile, and quiet confidence all signaled someone entirely at ease in her skin and aware of her influence. In contrast, Camilla's more guarded expressions and sudden withdrawal suggested discomfort well beyond the surface. Royal biographers add further context. The monarchy runs on symbols. Image is not just about beauty or style, but about who holds the power to define the family's future. notes a renowned royal historian. Catherine's transformation, they argue, wasn't merely personal. It was a branding power move, a visible mark of her growing strength in the pecking order, subtly highlighting generational change and resilience. Put simply, what millions saw as a fashionable moment was, in fact, a strategic statement in the never-ending story of succession, public favor, and the delicate balance of royal authority. The tears in Balmoral's quiet rooms were about more than hair. They signaled the constant battle over who truly shapes the face and fate of the monarchy. No institution on earth understands the art of optics quite like the British royal family. Almost immediately after Balmoral's uneasy undercurrents, the palace PR machine whirred into motion. Carefully choreographed images were released. Family groups smiling on woodland walks, Camilla and Catherine appearing side by side in perfect harmony. Select journalists were granted brief, scripted interactions enough to quiet the gossips, not enough to invite real inquiry. Official statements brushed off any hint of turmoil, insisting the summer had been one of joyful family tradition. But for seasoned royal commentators and viewers like you, the pattern felt all too familiar. We've seen similar playbooks before, from awkward balcony appearances to sudden shifts in public schedules. Time and again, smiles are arranged, tensions are airbrushed, and headlines are rewritten to fit the palace narrative. And yet, the real story always finds its way out. A servant's whispered account, a journalist's off-the-record sigh, a photo that says more than 1,000 press releases. In the end, it's the loyal, perceptive royal watchers who see through the spin, recognizing that beneath every official pose, history is still being written and not always as the palace intends. To those of you watching, longtime students of royal history and loyal defenders of tradition, your instincts have once again proven true. The real drama, the real trials of monarchy, so often unfold away from the cameras, whispered in corridors and etched in subtle gestures that elude the average headline reader. But you see it. You feel it. That's what makes this community unique. We always knew there was more to the story. If you sense that the palace's summer smiles hid deeper cracks, tell us below, because this channel is for you, the audience who refuses to settle for the official line. As the mist settles over Balmoral, the aftershocks of this summer showdown continue to ripple through royal circles. Was this moment of raw rivalry and heartbreak merely a glimpse of deeper divisions? Indeed, the question now on every commentator's lips. How will this emotional rupture shape the succession, public trust, and the future unity of the crown? When jealousy and generational change clash within the palace's private walls, loyalty can be tested and alliances recalibrated in ways the public rarely glimpses. For a monarchy that depends above all on the illusion of stability, such fractures are not just personal, they're historic. The image may have cracked, but the story is far from over.